The 7 levels of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Let's watch.
A lot of players may think that competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Either boils down to getting luckier than your opponent, or simply being the better player all the time and completely outplaying them.
Wait, is this not this? I thought I was smart. Am I in the other side of the bell curve? That's what it's called, right? Yeah.
But if that were the case, we'd probably not be playing this game. Don't get me wrong, there are elements of both luck and skill when it comes to competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, but what makes the game interesting and enjoyable to play is how each game is never decided by the same factors. There are games where it'll be neck and neck the entire way, but also games that are decided as soon as the opening hands are drawn. So why should you care? Today I'll walk you through all levels of the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and show
Okay,
you how many
predictions, chat. Before watching the video, where are you? Hold on. I mean, it says pro. I cannot move yeah, it says pro. It says pro. Are you in a beginner for a pro? When I watched this, I was thinking like, oh, I'm probably between 3 and 4, right? I already watched this video, but we want to talk about it here. I watched it and then people started recommending it, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we're gonna watch it together and talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it. 3 or 4? Yeah, 3 or 4. I feel like we're mostly like casual. I don't know. All right, let's see.
things a competitive player at each skill level is thinking about when they play the game, so you can see how the game works at every skill level. No matter what you think your skill level is, I'll be talking about different things you can do at each level to improve. So if you're interested in becoming a better Yu-Gi-Oh player, then this is the video for you. Starting off.
Oh, and we're also gonna learn, yeah. 3 or 4. Where am I now, or where I used to be? Lol, 13 years ago I was level 7. Probably today I'm probably 3 or 4. Wait. At Yu-Gi-Oh! You were level 7? You were like a straight up pro player? Wait, hold on. That is lore that I didn't know about. That is some lore that I didn't know about. You can share about it probably at some point.
Off at level 1, this is the player who's just starting to move from casual play into the competitive scene. At this level, players are really only thinking about what they themselves are playing. They're focused entirely on their own deck, their own combos, and their own card choices, but they don't really have any awareness of the larger metagame. A lot of players at this level are also playing pet decks. These are decks that they personally enjoy.
I feel like that's a common thing, right? Like if you kinda want to be like an actual like competitive player, you cannot play pet decks, right? If you know, if you want to be successful as one. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I'm pretty sure this, like if you're playing a pet deck, you cannot consider yourself a competitive player, I guess. Is that correct? What do you think? I mean, you can make it, you can try your best to make it competitive, but like what are we doing, right? You have 3 YCS tops? What? Alright.
Maybe because they like the artwork or the theme, but they're often not particularly strong competitively, and sometimes these players will even refuse to play stronger decks simply because they don't like them. The problems players face at this level is once they start entering competitive events, they're suddenly facing a wide range of decks that they've never even seen.
Well, yeah, if you don't like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, why join a competitive tournament? Makes like no sense.
Before and are likely better than whatever they're playing. If they don't know what the opponent's strategy is trying to do, it becomes very hard to interact with it effectively. So as a result, players at this level often struggle at competitive tournaments, not necessarily because they're bad players, but because they're going in without the knowledge of what other decks actually do. So my tip for those at this level is to simply stay open-minded. Try to get a basic understanding of what the most popular decks in the metagame do. You don't need to master every matchup yet, but just knowing what the opponent is trying to accomplish already makes a huge difference.
Do you think this is a thing? Do you think I mean, for example, I will say like, yeah, the problem is like that is like close-minded and you just want to play one deck, right? And you don't want to try, then that is not like, it's open-minded in the sense of like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh. If you don't want to get competitive, then that's fine, right? It makes sense, you play whatever you want. But like in yours, I feel like they will say, no, you're close-minded because you only want to play meta decks. Well, they're meta decks for a reason, right? You're in the top 100 global in the KC April, I don't know what that is. Konami Cup, is that it? KC? April 2018. That's something, yeah. Alright. I'm definitely not here. I already went past level 1.
Level 2 is where players start to become more aware of the overall metagame. These players understand what decks are good, and they're willing to play those decks. This is often where net decking comes into play, meaning they'll take a deck list that has already performed well in an event and copy it card for card.
Then from net decking, like, I feel like it's a huge jump, right? From level 1 to level 2. That is a huge jump. From someone who like already like cares, right? To actually look for cards. And you already have knowledge about the meta and stuff. Like, even if it's like, I mean, I guess like net decking is the most basic knowledge. Just caring about, like, because level 1 is not caring. Level 2 is you already care. That's why you care about the meta, so you look up what is a good deck and you copy it because you don't understand it yet, right? So I'm guessing that's why, right? That's why that this guy basically just put the majority of players at level 2. If net decking is 2, then what is 3 though? What is 3 through 6? He's saying level 2 according to this. I feel like net decking, if net decking is copying a successful deck list card for card. Yeah, I feel like most players will do this, right? So you don't have to think too much about it, and you already have like you already feel good like playing a deck that you know does well, so you cannot blame your deck, right?
Card. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with doing that when just starting out. After all, the list has been proven to work, and so taking it can mean you can focus more on playing the deck well rather than actually trying to build a good deck from scratch. Because they're using such strong deck lists, these players will sometimes have good results at smaller tournaments like locals, but they still tend to struggle with consistent technical play. Even with a strong deck, they might miss sequence combos or make inefficient plays during games that still lead to their loss. So they'll have moments where things go well, but it's not quite consistent yet. My tip for this level would be the following. The best thing you can do here is simply play more games. The more games you play, the more you naturally start picking up on higher level concepts that our experienced players use, like solitaire.
That's interesting. Try to play more games. I feel like this is like basic for like everyone, right? Yeah, I guess I don't know.
Play. That brings me to level 3, which is what I would consider the average competitive player. If you go to most small and medium-sized tournaments, a huge proportion of the players will fall somewhere around this level. They have some competitive experience, they understand the basics of the game, and they have some interest in trying to improve. It's at this level where players start thinking more about their technical play. For example, they might begin each turn with a high-level general plan of what they want to accomplish, whether that's trying to set up as big of a board as possible if they're playing a combo deck, or establishing a strong resource loop that will give them a good grind game. They'll also understand some simple concepts, like when to draw cards before searching them.
Wait, what the hell? It is like... That's not part of level 3. Like, actually, you know, knowing how to play the game is part of level 3 and not in level 2?
Or how to sequence cards more efficiently throughout their turn to get the most value. Players at this level also start trying to improve in small ways. Maybe they watch videos about gameplay tips, for example. If this sounds like you, well, I know just the right channel. Anyways, maybe these players will also do test hands with their deck to see what their combos may look like.
Do people not do this? Is this not the first thing that you do after you build a deck? Is this not the, if this is not the first thing you do after, I don't know. I feel like this is something that you could do even in level 1, right? Aren't you like even like curious about it? I don't know. Pepper, do you like to do with meta deck or all deck with no meta fight? I need to play meta decks. There is no other choice.
But a lot of them are still net decking and not really thinking about deck building yet. And this shows up in their results, since results-wise, these players will usually do pretty well at locals, and they may occasionally have some success at a regional event, but they're not consistently performing at the highest level yet. So my tip for this level is to start analyzing your games more seriously. That might mean testing specific matchups intentionally, trying to play through hand traps or common choke points during test hands, or even watching back your games as possible to try to identify any mistakes. A useful thought here is the 80-20 rule. In many cases, you can learn 80% of what the top players know without an extreme amount of extra effort, and the simplest thing you can do to start is just by studying your own games and learning from your mistakes.
This applies to life too? Wait, what does this mean? 80% of the results come from 20% of the effort? What does this mean? Huh?
Before I get into in many cases, you can learn 80% of what the top players know without an extreme amount of extra effort, and the simplest thing you can do to start is just by studying your own games and learning from your mistakes. Is the 80-20 rule. Test hands, or even watching back your games as possible to try to identify any mistakes. A useful thought here is the 80-20 rule. In many cases, you can learn 80% of what the top players know without an extreme amount of extra effort, and the simplest thing you can do to start is just by studying your own games and learning from your mistakes.
Oh wait, I'm gonna learn from the other players while studying my own stuff. Interesting. Well, I feel like depending on what is 4, I could be between 3 and 4, right? I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember. But we'll see. Because, like, I feel like, like you said, Crypto, so, do people not test their deck? That seems like such a basic thing. Yeah, I feel like that's something that you do even at level 1. Even if you're playing casually, you see what you get, right? You need to see, like, what a hand looks like usually, and what do you do normally. I don't know.
Before I get into level 4, I just want to quickly ask you to consider subscribing.
Oh yeah,
to the
I'm
channel.
subscribing.
This video took me a
I'm
lot
subscribing
more
and
effort to
liking.
create, and if you find it interesting so far, I'd really appreciate it if you can show that by subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, but it tells YouTube that you like the video and it helps the channel out greatly. I'm also trying to hit 15,000 subscribers by the middle of 2026
I believe.
when I graduate, so every extra sub counts. Alright, now let's get back to the video.
I think he's saying that you can learn 80% of what pro players know without much effort. The last 20 of that knowledge takes. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it. Okay, I understand. Thank you for explaining, dude. I had like an ESL moment there. I wasn't like fully understanding it.
Next up is level 4, where players are starting to move above the average competitive level. Most players you see in the later rounds of tournaments, especially at the higher tables, will likely be around this skill level or higher. These players have some competitive experience and likely have a few decent results or regional top 8s to show for it.
This is already not me because I don't participate in tournaments.
One big skill that separates them from the lower levels though is the ability to make simple reads on their opponent. Instead of just reacting to what happens, they start thinking about what possible combination of cards their opponent might realistically have, and try to play around it accordingly. This is pretty similar to the concept of ranges in poker, where the best players aren't necessarily able to know which 2 cards their opponents have exactly, but can make an educated guess about the types of hands they likely have based on how they've played the hand so far. So in terms of a Yu-Gi-Oh example, players at this level can start making simple reads about unknown cards the opponent is holding. Take the Dracotail deck for example. There are 3 possible Dracotail traps: Sting, Horn, and Flame. And if the opponent has shown you that they've set Horn and Sting there in their combo, and 1 extra unknown card face down from their hand, a player at this level should be able to recognize that the other face down is most likely a Dracotail Flame, since that's the trap card that most Dracotail players will prioritize first.
Can you imagine if your opponent's playing Imperm? Like, I feel like this is that one easy one, and it's one of the most competitive decks. Like, you have to always assume that the other side card is Flame, definitely. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like I try to be level 4, but I don't know every deck, right? But I try to learn the new decks. For example, okay, I'm starting to feel more identified with this one, because you know how Cool Tunes is gonna be... It's Cool Tune, right? Cool Tune is gonna release in Master Duel like this week, right? So before it's even released, I've been looking at videos about Cool Tune. I've been watching a lot of videos explaining the effects and stuff, and the combos from all creators from the TCG. I know it's not gonna be the same, but it's to get an idea of it. So if you're doing that, thank you so much, Gazelle, for the follow. If you're already doing that, I feel like that's good, right? Because I kind of did the same for Radiant Typhoon, but I still get surprised by it. So I feel like that's the thing that you can do because I'm purely a Master Duel player, right? So I can already look at the TCG and the OCG and get at least a vibe, right, of what is going to happen. But I still going to have to read the cards and see players play it. So yeah, that's why honestly I prefer to face decks like Dracotail or like Yami Mitsurugi. Because I know those decks. To me, it's easier to play against Dracotail or Yami Mitsurugi than playing against Mech Lords, right? Because I don't know what Mech Lords do. I don't understand them. I don't know. Nobody plays that. When I see someone playing something that I never seen before, I'm like, dude, why don't you play a real deck, dude? What am I supposed to do? I'm just getting like cheesed. I'm cheesed by a surprise factor. I don't know what's in your deck. I don't know the ranges. There could be anything there. I don't know. I don't know. This happens to me in reverse. I'm the guy with weird archetypes. Yeah, I get that. That also happens when I play Nouvelle, right? When I play Nouvelle, I feel like I can feel the opponents like waiting and reading the cards. But even Nouvelle is like has some idea, right? Bro, I feel that in my soul. I just want to play against meta decks all day. So true. That's why I need to be in higher ranks. I cannot play in lower ranks. What is the fun in that? It's fun to me. It's fun to me because I actually like the game. I like the interactions. I love the game. Yu-Gi-Oh is such a beautiful game. I want to compete in it. That's why I need to keep style because I want to be in the top ranks playing against pure meta people. Yeah, I don't know.
Or if the Draco player has already set all 3 trap cards during their combo, any additional unknown card should only really be a bluff like an extra Draco spell card, or a piece of chainable non-engine like Forbidden Droplet if they play.
What if it's a psychopath and they are actually playing Imperm? What if it's someone like that? I don't know. You never know, right? But it's a guess. It's better than not knowing anything. I'm fine facing non-meta as long as it isn't Floodgate. Oh, that is true. And that's the worst part, that you don't know, right? You never know.
Play board breakers in their deck. Players at this level may also start incorporating some higher level strategies into their gameplay. So, for example, they may consider scooping early in a game to conceal information about the deck and make it
that's so fun. That's true. That's true. But but even in Master Duel, because you're trying to climb, right? You just surrender when you get a bad hand and you see your opponent normal summon Rasen, reveals, looks for a card and for what is it called? Looks for oh my god, what is the name? Oh my god, why did I forget the name? Holy Sue. Looks for Holy Sue and the opponent instantly surrenders. That's it. That's it. It's that easy because you already know, right? You already know what the full combo looks like. You already know. Or like when the opponent reveals Yokul and some other level 5 and instantly scoop, right? You don't waste time. You just go to it. Random decks is what makes Yu-Gi-Oh fun, because if you know what's going to happen, it's not fun. Imagine an old deck versus a meta beat a meta deck. But the fun part of it is the skill, right? If like you already know the deck, then what matters is the skill. Because you don't know exactly what's going to happen, because you don't know exactly what cards your opponent can have in their hand, right? You don't know exactly what your opponent is going to do. Have you ever beat Banquisol? Huh? Have you ever beat... Wait, are you saying Banquisol? BS K9 in Master Duel? I play that, but I beat those decks with other decks like Sky Striker or Nouvelle too, if that's what you're asking. Deck building is a big part of the skill expression. Of course. It makes me wonder if he is going to include shadow boarding for the next. I don't even know what shadow boarding is. Yeah, you got me there, Crispy Apples. I don't know what that means. Yeah, I have no idea what that is. Typhon has an edge on this part since the unknown card can be a quick play. The unknown card can be a quick play. I mean, yes.
harder for the opponent to properly side deck for the next game. They may also start sequencing their plays more intentionally to check for hand traps. And finally, they may also use simple bluffs to try to send false signals to their opponent.
Okay, I feel like bluffing is not necessarily a thing from level 4. I feel like you can be a casual player and bluff if you're like insane enough, right? You can actually, I mean, if you're playing a non-meta deck and you're actually playing Mirror Force, you can bluff with random stuff. Shadowboarding is just shuffling your whole side deck into your deck. Shuffling your whole side deck into your... and pulling out 15 cards so your opponent doesn't know how many cards you sided. Interesting. That is so funny. I don't know. I since I don't play paper, I actually don't know. I probably should. Dang, I don't have money to get a proper deck. I'm not gonna play with my Cyber Dragon deck. After all that I've seen, I got a Cyber Dragon deck, which is really cool. It's really fun. I really like it. But I'm not gonna join a tournament with like a huge disadvantage, because I was told that people in my country weren't that competitive. but apparently they are very competitive, and apparently foreigners come to come to here to compete in local, in not in local, in regional tournaments and stuff. I didn't know that. I knew some people in the in locals that like fall like I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name because I don't wanna name them. But like they fought like a they didn't fought. They duel a competitive player that has a YouTube channel and everything in here, and I was like, what? What? No. I welcome that. I would love to participate. I would love to duel them at some point, but I cannot do it at the moment. I maybe one day. Who knows?
For example, checking a stat card in a way that makes it look like they're thinking about using it, even if they aren't. These are small edges, but these are things that separate the average players from the above average players. So my tip for a player at this level to continue improving would be to start thinking about the game more deeply outside of the matches that you play.
Analyzing the game more carefully outside of matches you find, to find areas to improve. Yeah, I feel like I'm here. I feel like I'm confident. I feel like the first time that I watched this 2 weeks ago, I was probably in between 3 and 4. But seeing how much effort I put into the Duelist Cup, and during the Duelist Cup, not into the Duelist Cup, but during the Duelist Cup, I feel like I can be confident level 4. Yeah. Pepper, I have a question. Should I stay with branded Dracotail or make another meta deck? Well, it's up to you, right? If you're enjoying that deck and it's getting you the results that you want, to be fine, right? Pep needs a striker, Mitsurugi structure deck. Yo, I was thinking about that. I was really thinking about that. I was actually thinking about that. Because that seems like the best way to do it. It's not the cards that I would prefer to play, but it's like something viable. What kind of decks do you enjoy? I used to really like blind second decks. I really like that. But lately I've been enjoying the interaction of Banquistol K9. I really enjoying the turn 0 plays. I feel like I don't get bored like that. Because sometimes I feel like, so I used to see the game like as a puzzle to solve. Like the opponent makes an unbreakable board, and I just try to think about the best, like the order to use the 6 cards that I drew and how to play them. And that's fun. That's fun in a way. I like it, but I feel like I also enjoy just playing in the opponent's turn. I feel like that's more fun because that's actually playing the game consistently. Yeah. Is Sky Striker a good link deck? I will say so. Depends on what you consider good, but I feel like, yeah, good is a good word. Pepper, what type of deck? Do you gonna ask just random questions? What type of deck of all deck? I would like to see Cyber Dragon become a deck that plays in the opponent's turn. Have you seen that card? The new Cyber Dragon card, Cyber Dragon Revolution, or something like that? That you can just special summon and negate an opponent's effect. I feel like if that was a quick effect that you can activate on your opponent's turn, that would be really awesome. That would be really awesome. It's literally imperm, right? It's literally imperm, but it's also a monster. But after that, you cannot activate imperm. I feel like that would be fun. And especially if the other effect that to fusion would be also really cool. The Cyber Dragon, that's not a Cyber Dragon card. It is a Cyber Dragon card. It is a Cyber Dragon monster. It is not literally a Cyber Dragon, but it is a Cyber Dragon monster. Yes. Hello, Nico. Welcome. Because as a dual tainer, one of my favorite things to do is getting people to play new decks. Yeah. What about Cyber Angel? I don't know anything about Cyber Angel. Branded Draco is still strong. Yeah, that's what I've seen, right? I still need a Cyber Dragon to fuse all your opponent monsters. I feel like that would be like crossing the line. In a way, I don't know. Well, anyways, let's keep watching.
Talk about strategy with other players around your skill level, or ideally players that are slightly better. And most importantly, try to start identifying specific areas of your game that you want to improve, like technical play or making reads. Now, level 5.
I feel like that's the thing that I'm missing. I need like a sensei, you know. I need a coach that actually like helps me, in this thing. But I'm too shy and I don't want to bother anyone. Wink, wink.
Is where a decent player becomes a good player. These players may have some premier event results, like CS tops or other strong finishes at big events. One difference at this level is a player's ability to deck build. Instead of just copying deck lists and net decking...
Wait. We were net decking in level 3 and 4 too? We were net decking here? Wait, hold on.
Players might start experimenting with underexplored tech cards or strategies. They recognize...
DD Crow. Show me that DD Crow.
Certain cards might perform well in a particular metagame and aren't afraid to deviate from the standard choices if it makes sense. More importantly, they also start understanding why certain cards are good or bad, and the roles they play in the deck. If you're interested in learning more about these card roles and want to master deck building, you can check out the featured video on the top right of their screen right now, where I go into these concepts in more detail.
We can check that. We want to check that. We want to check that later, chat. We want to check that later.
These players also get much better at information management, which includes both concealing information and using information. For example, suppose you have a way to set up 7,000 damage this turn at the cost of all your resources, but aren't sure if that would be enough to end the game since you forgot what the life point total is. Instead of asking the opponent how much life points they're at, they might ask what the life point total is for both players, which avoids revealing their intention of going for a game to the opponent. On the other hand, they may also use available information more effectively. For example, they may check an opponent's graveyard and be able to draw conclusions about things like what resources have already been used, what cards might still be available to the opponent, and what the opponent's possible plays are in a given turn. And that brings me to my tip for this level. In order to continue improving, try to start learning more about higher level card game theory and study the decisions of the best players by watching their replays.
Wait, what exactly is higher level? Like what? Like, how do I didn't even know, right? Well, according to him, I guess I'm at this level. I'm really curious what he calls level 7. And if this is a YCS, well, a world champion, right? An actual like world champion will be level 7.
Brings me to the next level, level 6. Level 6 is where we start talking about elite competitive players. These players usually have multiple premier event results, like several YCS tops or even some premier tournament wins.
Wow.
One major difference that sets them apart though is intentional playtesting. Instead of just playing games casually, these players are actively trying to find the best plays and analyze every decision in every single game that they play. They'll review their games carefully and constantly look for ways to improve. Players at this level also have a very strong understanding of higher level card game theory. Whether they
Okay, the philosophy of fire, trading life for cards. Who's the beatdown? When to be aggressive versus passive. Tempo, efficiency, tempo. What a word. Why certain cards are objectively better.
About it consciously during a game, or sometimes just knowing it intuitively. Now, I won't go into depth about each of these theories in this video, but by knowing about theories like the philosophy of fire, who's the beatdown, and tempo and efficiency, these players give themselves an additional edge in game. These concepts help guide their decision making throughout a game and can actually be the difference between winning and losing a close game every so often. Okay, so my tip for this level is going to be this. At this point, any further improvements will come from a mindset of continuous learning. Even elite players are trying to constantly identify small areas where they can get better, so you should too if you're serious about improving. Finally, level 7 is where the legends of the game are. These are players who are widely known in the community for their skill, consistently perform well at large events, and have built strong reputations over time. They understand everything we've talked about so far, but there are a few additional qualities that set them apart. One of the biggest ones is that they're not afraid to fail. Sometimes they'll bring something completely unexpected to a tournament because they genuinely believe it's the right choice, even if no one else agrees. You likely won't ever hear about these times if they don't succeed, but the few times these wild ideas work, they are immortalized in Yu-Gi-Oh history. A good example of this would be Dinka Bui bringing prank hits to a YCS when most players wrote the deck off as unplayable. He was able to recognize that and match up pretty well.
I'm sorry, but this is so funny because like it's the whole bell curve, right? Level 1 plays prank hits. Level 7 plays prank hits. From level 2 to level 6, what the fuck? Why is this guy playing prank hits? I love that, dude. That is so funny. That is so funny.
Well into common meta decks at the time like Thunder Dragon, and of course, combined with his strong technical play, he was able to give himself a big enough edge to win the tournament. These players also tend to have very strong testing circles. They're surrounded by other high-level players who can challenge their ideas, provide feedback, and help refine both common and unorthodox strategies that they may be preparing. Mentally, these players also have a huge advantage. They understand that luck is a part of the game. Sometimes things out of your control will happen and you're just not meant to do well in a particular tournament, and that ultimately shouldn't affect the way you play. Because of that mindset, they're able to not tilt and continue playing their best even when something doesn't go well. Another interesting trait is their ability to adapt their playstyle depending on their opponent. For example, they may recognize when an opponent is likely to fall for a bluff, or when taking a more straightforward line is better. Overall, players at this level
I'm nowhere
have reached the
close.
pinnacle of competitive play. Of course, they can still make mistakes as they're not machines, but their biggest strength is their consistency and their ability to always feel like they're in contention to win the next big trophy.
Yeah, I'm nowhere close here. One day, chat. One day. Great example is Jeff Leonard and Exodia. Well, I wouldn't say that Jeff Leonard is a level 7. He's definitely a good player, but I wouldn't put him level 7, right? Most people play Exodia in its set ways. Top player forgets new path and wins the YCS with Exodia. But nah, Jeff is not level 7. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Obviously, like, we have to commend his his success, I guess. Like, he's gotten results, right? But not level 7 results. This is multiple. Like, has he won multiple YCS? Multiple like big tournaments? I don't think so. He has? Really? But not with Exodia. Interesting. Well, I didn't know. In the videos that I watch about him, like maybe with other type of cards. Oh wait, was it like Mystic Mine? Because Mystic Mine is a different story. And that was meta, right? That wasn't a meme. That was the whole thing. I don't know. I'm missing my history. Maybe we can watch a video about a history lesson about this, but I don't know. He won a YCS back in the day when people said he could only play Mystic Mine, and the mine got banned, and people said he can play. Okay, well, we're gonna learn about it in the future. Don't worry.
And so that wraps up the 7 levels of competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope you found it interesting to learn about the different levels of the game, and regardless of what level you think you're at, hopefully you're able to get some useful information from it too. What level do you think you're currently at, and what level are you aspiring to get to? Let me know in the comments below. Also, before I end off the video, I just want to give a quick shout out to Card Trader. They're an online marketplace where you can buy and sell cards, and by using my affiliate link in the description below and use code TCGSAM at checkout, you can get 5% off your entire order while also helping to support the channel. But with all that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Get all those cards. Get all those cards right now. Very cool video. I really like it. That's why this is like I like this type of videos because we can talk about it, right? We can share so many things, and that's what I like. We can talk about different views on this, and we can talk opinions. I feel like that's the type of things that I want to see more. In this channel. So yeah, we will check the channel obviously and see more of those. But yeah, thank you so much, and let me know, chat. Also, I want to see, chat, which level are you, and also tell me why I'm wrong. I want you to tell me what I said wrong during the whole video. I don't know, we have been recording for a while, but yeah, let me know about that. So yeah, thank you.